A las 8 quedamos que nos comunicábamos con Sharon, así que ahora vamos a arrancar con el Skype.
¿Sí?
Se llama. ¿Qué hora es? Pero votemos todos juntos. Hello?
Hello.
Hello, is Sharon always there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, good. That is such a relief.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Can you listen now? You hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing.
We had a connection problem, as you probably imagine, so I'm back here. So we start with the questions. We're all here to celebrate the book. I've seen it for the first time today. Can you hear me? Yes? Clearly?
Can Sharon hear you?
Yes? Sharon?
Yes.
Clearly?
Yes. I can hear you. It's a little blurry, but I hear you and I see you. And I thank you for the great honor of transporting me there to where you are. Thank you.
Well, we're very, very happy to have you here. And we were all waiting to know you and to see you in the moon, because you're always in pictures. We know you moving. So, we'll start with the questions, and as we agreed the other day, afterwards the public will come and give you another question.
Could you understand?
I'll start with my questions, and then the public will come and have other questions. Can you hear well? No. Is it blurry?
That last sentence was broken up. Sometimes you're breaking up a bit.
So, what can we do? Well, let's do something. I ask you questions. When they break up, you tell me, I repeat the question. And we'll see, we play it by ear. So, the first questions are only a couple of questions regarding your history in poetry.
My history
was
poetry.
Yes, like was writing poetry a decision you took at some stage in your life?
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I heard the poetry in the songs in church. Right? So I heard I sang, you okay? Oh, so I sang the hymns in church. Not the Psalms, the Old Testament, and those were good poems. Did I answer your question at all?
Yes, and also I read that went into your craft, in the way you wrote. You realized that maybe later in your writing life that you were using the same stanzas and the same way that the hymns were.
Exactly.
And how was it? Sorry, we are figuring out if we do simultaneous translation or after I speak, then they translate. So I'll be pausing so that the translator can say what I speak.
Tell me, and just tell me what to do.
Yes.
está diciendo que en vez de hacer traducción simultánea, vamos a hacer traducción consecutiva. Entonces Inés le está explicando y ella dice que...
So what I asked you is, when did you change that, the hymn way of writing? How did you do that?
¿Cómo cambiaste esta forma de escribir esto que tenía que ver con los himnos?
I didn't know. I was about 50 years old, 50, and I didn't know that I was writing within that pattern. I didn't know. And then I noticed it, and at first I was worried because I'm not a religious poet. It didn't seem right, but then I thought, it's fine. I think it's lucky when we writers have a way of writing that feels very natural to us. So I just kept doing it.
Wonderful.
Entonces, dice que cuando ella tenía 50 años y aclara 5-0, ella no sabía, y bueno, ella escribía y ahí empezó a notar.
That would be interesting. Sorry. Scribbling in the mirror.
Ella no es una poeta religiosa. Y bueno, al principio pensó que eso no estaba bien, que no era lo correcto, y después dijo, bueno, pero en realidad yo tengo suerte. Y bueno, y entonces ahí empezó a escribir de esa manera.
So, yes, all these pauses because she's translating. Now we'll get the kick of it. So I also read that you love odd words, palabras raras.
Yes.
And
I wondered how you felt that a word can have a link to the rest of the words in a poem.
Bueno, yo sé que te gustan las palabras raras y quiero saber cómo es esta conexión de estas palabras con el resto del poema.
Yocha.
I worried that if I used the wacky words that I love to use sometimes, that a reader would open a book and see difficult words and think, this poet doesn't care if I understand, and would throw the book across the room, as we do when our feelings are hurt by a poem. But then I just couldn't resist, and so I tried to balance the sounding ordinary enough for a regular person, but still having fun with peculiar words.
And when you
Bueno, al principio dice que ella estaba un poquito preocupada porque ella lo que quería era que el lector abriera el libro y pudiera entender las palabras, pero dice que, que no quiere que la gente diga que al escritor no le importan las palabras si se está entendiendo o no. Entonces dice que, que ella trató de buscar un equilibrio, un cierto balance entre las palabras comunes y las otras palabras, pero la idea es que no quiere herir al lector, porque si no dice que el lector cuando algo no le gusta agarra el libro y lo revolea por el aire, y ella lo que quiere también es divertir al lector.
Yes, yeah, I know. And then you do a cliché round robin to find out if you've used too many cliché words. That you also said. Is round robin the word?
Y también hace un round robin que es como que va dando vueltas por todos lados, que hace como todos contra todos. con los clichés, ¿no? Cuando va revisando el libro, buscando las palabras.
Once the poems are ready and the book is ready, the publisher gives it to you and you read, you do this round robin, this cliché round robin.
Cuando el libro está listo y el editor te lo entrega, ahí haces esta búsqueda por todos lados, round robin de clichés.
So my question is, how would you define a cliché? How would you know when you do this round robin thing? And then if you can tell us about that.
Y mi pregunta entonces es, ¿cómo es esto? ¿Cómo haces esta cosa del round robin que das vuelta por ahí? ¿Cómo definirías un cliché?
Yes. So I go through the book, the manuscript, slowly, and I write down the words that are used over and over with the page number. And when I wish I could show you, it's somewhere right.
I knew you were looking for something. I could see that.
And so, and then I say like the word mother many, many times. That's New York City you're hearing. You hear the sirens?
We do. Yes, I thought they were here.
Bueno, acá está diciendo...
Oh, okay. Well, no, you won't be able to see it. So,
dice que ella lo que
there's the book,
es buscar...
and then you won't be able to see it.
We do, yes. So, no, you have to show it and stop so that we can focus and see, because it's very interesting.
Es decir, dice que, bueno, ella agarra un manuscrito, revisa el manuscrito y lo revisa de manera muy lenta, va muy despacito, buscando las palabras que repite una y otra vez. Y después anota el número de página.
Okay.
Eso, la palabra mother, la palabra madre, que se repite muchísimas veces. Bueno, y después ahí interrumpe para decir que ese ruido de sirenas, eso que estábamos oyendo, era la sirena de Nueva York. Que Inés dice que pensó que era la sirena de acá de la esquina. Y ahí está mostrando los manuscritos.
So then what do you do with those words that are so many times repeated in your book?
Y acá Inés le pregunta qué hace con estas palabras que se repiten todo el tiempo en su libro.
Right. So I go to each instance of that word. I go to each line that has that word in it, and I say to the word, please, can I change you to another word?
Entonces ella va viendo cada una de estas palabras que se repiten y la busca en el texto, encuentra la palabra y después le dice a cada palabra, por favor, ¿te puedo cambiar por otra?
And mostly the word says, no.
La palabra dice no.
But sometimes I can change them. The word golden, the word dark, the word earth.
Dorado, por ejemplo, la palabra tierra.
I would change them.
Y a veces los puedo cambiar.
Half of them.
And do they come, the changes, you find the words in you or do you use dictionaries?
Bueno, dice que la está ahí y le pregunta si ella encuentra las palabras o si usa diccionarios.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, yes, mostly in me.
Not synonyms.
No sinónimos.
Well, synonyms. Or something like a synonym.
Sinónimos o algo parecido.
Or I take the line out.
O saco la línea entera.
But the line says no. The line says no, don't do that.
La línea te dice que no.
I know. And I say, please. So it's different with all these words. So many. And I get to know the book very well by trying to take out the words that are used too many times out of laziness.
Y dice que bueno, que ella finalmente llega a conocer muy bien el libro trabajando con estas palabras que ella repite tanto y que son palabras que son como el resultado de la vagancia, de ser medio holgazana.
The one both for Ignacio and for me, translating your poems changed our own writing in a very crucial way.
La traducción de tus poemas, tanto para Ignacio como para mí, nos cambió nuestra propia manera de escribir de una manera muy importante, de una manera crucial.
The job of finding the right temperature,
Esto de encontrar la temperatura adecuada,
the right depth,
la profundidad correcta,
the right material and sensory effect for your words,
el material y el efecto sensorial para tus palabras.
meant we had to go very deeply into our own language.
Esto hizo que tuviéramos que profundizar muchísimo dentro de nuestro propio idioma.
So I wondered how you worked with the words, and now I have a clearer picture.
Yo me preguntaba cómo trabajabas con las palabras. Ahora tengo una imagen un poco más clara.
Because you also mentioned that the balance between when you're writing, the balance between going fast enough,
Porque ya dijiste que tratas de buscar un equilibrio cuando estás escribiendo, un equilibrio entre ir bastante rápido,
so that you don't lose. And here I have to ask, is it the or the hum?
como para no perder nada. Y ahora yo te pregunto, ¿es un o un hum?
This is typical that I ask you something that you once said, but you go fast enough so that you don't lose the hum, and yet not letting the wrong word stand.
Entonces la idea es que no querés perder el hum, y la idea es que tampoco aparezca la palabra, que tampoco surja la palabra inadecuada.
So I wondered how did that work? What would you say is a wrong word? How do you find out?
Entonces, ¿cómo funciona? ¿Cómo es esto? ¿Qué es una palabra incorrecta? ¿Y cómo te das cuenta?
I'm a storyteller.
Yo
Soy
artista.
So, if I don't get it right, if it's not accurate,
Entonces, como yo soy cuentista, si no es correcto, si no es conciso, si no es preciso,
or if it sounds pretentious, pompous,
o si suena demasiado pomposo,
then I stop and back up, just going on instinct.
ahí, en ese momento me detengo y retrocedo. Es una cosa que funciona de manera instintiva, lo hago instintivamente.
Would you relate it to some kind of truth in what you're telling?
¿Y esto lo relacionarías con cierta verdad, algún tipo de verdad en lo que estás contando?
Yes, not truth, not a big T, truth. No, I have no idea.
No,
but
no, verdad con una B mayúscula, no es verdad.
my perception.
Es mi percepción, no es la verdad.
The truth of that particular thing, very small, that you're working.
Yes.
La verdad es esa cosa pequeñita en la que estás trabajando.
One can see that, and I know that Ignacio felt the same. We were very thankful for that, and also had to work on it too. That's why I told you that it changed us so much.
Con Ignacio trabajamos en esto y nos sentimos muy agradecidos, y por eso te decimos que te agradecemos muchísimo, pero nos cambió mucho a nosotros.
Inés, muchas gracias.
For us, and also for all the people here who have read random translations, and now they will be able to read more, and it's a gift for all of us.
Muchas gracias en nombre nuestro y en nombre de todas las personas que están acá, que antes habían leído algunas traducciones sueltas por ahí y ahora van a tener la oportunidad de leer una cosa más completa.
So what would you, this is probably something that they ask you often, what would you tell a young or a student? It can be also an aged student who wants to write.
Y esto es algo que probablemente te lo hayan preguntado muchísimas veces. ¿Qué le dirías a un alumno joven, o quizás alguno no tan joven, a un alumno más añoso?
Yes, I would say
Le
to
digo,
a young poet, a woman or a man, or anything else.
cualquier otra cosa.
I would say, this is what I say. I say, take your vitamins.
Yo les digo, esto es lo que les digo, toma tus vitaminas,
Take care of yourself.
cuídate,
Be kinder to yourself.
sé más amable contigo mismo.
That's it.
It sounds so easy, but we know it's not.
Suena muy fácil, pero sabemos que no lo es.
So now I'm going to leave you with Ignacio and then with the public, and they are going to make their own questions.
Bueno, te dejo ahora con Ignacio y después con el público, quienes van a hacer sus propias
Thank you
preguntas.
so much.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Hi.
Hola,
I'm your co-translator.
soy el co-traductor.
It's a
Ignacio, I'm Sharon. Hello. Hello.
Soy Sharon.
nice to meet you.
And you. I didn't quite hear what you said.
No escuché lo que dijiste.
Okay, it's a great honor for me to meet you at least by Skype.
Es un honor para mí verte aunque sea por
Yeah.
Skype.
Hello.
Hello. I wanted to tell you some words. We started this work in 2011, moved by love towards your work.
Queríamos decirte que nosotros empezamos con este trabajo en el año 2011, movidos por tu propio trabajo.
Especially The Father, that was the first book we read.
En particular, The Father, que fue el primer libro que leímos, el Padre, lo traducen como Padre.
It was translated by Mori Ponsowi, another Argentinian poet.
Que fue traducido por Mori Ponsowi y otros poetas argentinos.
Then we got to know the rest of your books, at that time, in 2011, we have not made contact with anyone, not an editor or a publishing house.
Y después empezamos a conocer otros. En ese momento, en el año 2011, nosotros empezamos ahí a contactar editores y empresas de publicación, editoras, va.
We just liked your work.
Nos encantó tu trabajo,
Thank you.
And we felt like two friends in love with Sharon Oates.
Y nosotros fuimos como dos amigos enamorados de Sharon Oates.
And that's why I want to realize, I want you to realize that because we have read you from side to side,
Por eso quiero que tomes conciencia de como que te leímos de cabo a rabo.
at least I feel that I feel this weird sensation that I know you better than you think.
Tengo esta sensación medio rara que me parece que te conozco más de lo que pensás.
Probably I'm wrong.
Probablemente me equivoque.
No, I like that. I like that.
I wanted to ask you if you think your poems as a book, as a whole book,
Quiero que me digas si vos pensás o considerás tus poemas como un libro completo.
I mean, what's your method? You write separate poems and then you
Oh,
¿Cómo
yeah.
es el método? ¿Escribís los poemas sueltos y después los juntás o qué?
Yes, I don't write books. I don't write books. I write a poem on a particular day.
Yo escribo
And I
poemas.
don't know what the poem is going to say.
Yo escribo un poema en un día en particular y no sé qué es lo que va a decir el poema.
all right.
And then every 4 years, I see I have enough.
Veo
And I look for the best ones,
Y ahí busco,
whatever they're about,
cada 4 años
just the best ones.
junta todos y después busca cuáles son los mejores, cualquiera que sea, pero solamente elige los mejores.
All right. Is there anything you fear about your own poems? Something you must watch out for?
¿Hay algo que tengas, a lo que temas de tus propios ¿Poemas? ¿Algo con lo que tienes que tener cuidado? ¿Algo que busques?
Yes, yes.
Sí.
Adjectives, too many adjectives,
Adjetivos,
And-
demasiados adjetivos.
too much self-pity.
Y demasiada autocompasión.
Would you say you write digging in the past or write about the present or the future?
¿Y dirías que escribís hurgando en el pasado o en el presente o hacia el futuro?
How do you achieve the distance to write about something personal?
¿Cómo lográs la distancia para escribir sobre algo de manera personal?
I don't think I keep a distance.
No, no guardo
I don't
distancia,
think
no
so.
creo, no creo.
I want to know what life is like, what people are like, what I am like.
Quiero saber cómo es la vida, cómo es la gente y cómo soy yo.
Past and present. I write a little about the future now in terms of ruining the earth.
Pasado y
Ruining.
presente, pero escribo también un poquito sobre el futuro en términos de arruinar la tierra.
Yeah.
Sí.
Well, thank you. I want to thank you. I'm very grateful. For me, reading your work was as a kind of gift, you know.
Muchas gracias, pues para mí leer tu trabajo fue como un regalo.
Thank you so much for working with my poems. I'm so grateful to you. Thank you.
Muchas gracias por trabajar, por leer mis poemas. Estoy muy agradecida a ustedes. Gracias.
¿Quieren hacer las preguntas ahora o primero que lean los poemas?
We have,
Que lean.
the people from the audience would like to listen to you to read some poem.
Okay.
Y eso los leemos
what
después.
shall I read?
No digo, pero...
I have four.
Maybe I go back to May.
Yeah.
Is this possible?
I just lost it. I was actually 90%. 44. 44. I go back to May 1937. I see them standing at the formal gates of their colleges. I see my father strolling out under the ochre sandstone arch, the red tiles glinting like bent plates of blood behind his head. I see my mother with a few light books at her hip, standing at the pillar made of tiny bricks, the wrought iron gate still open behind her, its sword tips aglow in the May air. They are about to graduate, they are about to get married, they're kids, they're dumb. All they know is they are innocent, they would never hurt anybody. I want to go up to them and say, stop, don't do it. She's the wrong woman. He's the wrong man. You are going to do things you cannot imagine you would ever do. You are going to do bad things to children. You are going to suffer in ways you have not heard of. You are going to want to die. I want to go up to them there in the late May sunlight and say it. Her hungry, pretty face turning to me, her pitiful, beautiful, untouched body. His arrogant, handsome face turning to me, his pitiful, beautiful, untouched body. But I don't do it. I want to live. I take them up like the male and female paper dolls and bang them together at the hips like chips of flint. I say, at the hips like chips of flint, as if to strike sparks from them. I say, do what you are going to do, and I will tell about it. Thank you.
That was wonderful. And,
She will read the other three and we read the poems later because
Okay,
we don't have her there
and
waiting.
would you read the other 3 poems, maybe?
Okay?
And can you read the other 3 poems? It would be really a gift for us.
I'm sorry, a little louder.
Okay. Would you read the other 3 poems?
Oh, I'll read the other poems now?
Is it alright for you?
Yes.
Alright.
Is that what you're saying? Okay, yeah, right. Yes, yes. Okay. This one is called The Clasp. She was 4, he was 1, it was raining, we had colds. We had been in the apartment 2 weeks straight. I grabbed her to keep her from shoving him over on his face again. And when I had her wrist in my grasp, I compressed it fiercely for almost a second to make an impression on her, to hurt her, our beloved firstborn. I even nearly savored the stinging sensation of the squeezing, the expression into her of my anger, never, never again, the righteous chant accompanying the clasp. It happened very fast, grab, crush, release. And at the first extra force, she swung her head as if checking who this was, and looked at me and saw me. Yes, this was her mom. Her mom was doing this. Her dark, deeply open eyes took me in. She knew me in the shock of the moment she learned me. This was her mother, one of the 2 whom she most loved, the 2 who loved her most. Near the source of love was this. And now, shall I read the other 2?
Alright. And then we'll...
Yes, okay.
Then we'll read the Spanish version. Versions here.
Sorry?
Afterwards. No, just read the last 2, okay. It will be right.
Slowly and loudly, I'm having a little trouble hearing you. Please say it again.
Okay, if you can read the other 2 poems, it would be fine.
Yes. Yes, he's asking you to. Yeah. Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, and this one that I'm going to read was written 20 years ago, maybe 25. I can't quite remember.
Voy a leer, lo escribí, no sé si hace 20 o hace 25 años, no me acuerdo bien.
The Pope's Penis.
El pene del Papa.
It hangs deep in his robes, a delicate clapper at the center of a bell. It moves when he moves, a ghostly fish in a halo of silver seaweed, the hair swaying in the dimness and the heat. And at night, while his eyes sleep, it stands up in praise of God. Sorry about that. Lo siento. The evening, okay. The last evening. The last evening. Then we raised the top portion of the bed, and her head was like a trillium growing up out of the ground in the woods, eyes closed, mouth open. And we put the battle arias on, and when I heard the first note, that was it for me. I excused myself from the death room guests and went to my mother and cleared a place on the mattress beside her arm, lifting the tubes, oxygen, dextrose, morphine, dipping in under them and letting them rest on my hair as if burying myself under a topsoil of roots. I pulled the sheet up over my head and touched my forehead and nose and mouth to her arm. And then, against the warm solace of her skin, I sobbed full out, unguarded, as I have not done near her. And I could feel some barrier between us dissolving. I could feel myself dissolving it, moving ever closer to her through it till I was all there. And in her coma, nothing drew her away from giving me the basal kindness of her presence. When the doctor came in, he looked at her and said, "I'd say hours, not days." When he left, I ate a pear with her, talking us through it, and walnuts, and a crow. A whole bouquet of crows came apart outside the window. I looked for the moon and said, "I'll be right back," and ran down the hospital hall. And there, outside the eastern window, was the waxing gibbous, like a swimmer's head turned to the side, half out of the water, mouth pulled to the side and back to take breath. I could see my young mother, slim and strong in her navy one-piece, and see, in memory's dark blue corridor, the beauty of her crawl, the hard, graceful overhand motion, as someone who says, "This way," to the others behind. And I went back and sat with her alone an hour in the quiet. And I felt almost not afraid of losing her. I was so content to have her beside me, unspeaking, unseeing, alive.
In Satan says, in your book, Satan says, in your book,
I hear Satan says, I hear the words
in your
Satan
book,
says.
yes,
I know those words,
Okay.
but I don't hear a question.
Okay. In that book, you said that you made a pact with the devil.
En ese libro decía que hiciste un pacto con el demonio.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Maybe if you say it, you're not on the screen, you're down,
Estás en la pantalla.
and if I could watch you while you speak, hi, there you are. Now I will watch you and maybe I will hear better.
Ahora si te veo,
I'll
te
hear,
veo mejor.
yeah.
Well, in that book, you
In that book,
yes, you made a pact with the devil. In your first poem, you made a pact with the devil.
oh yes.
Yes. You broke with your fathers.
Y
No,
rompiste con tus padres.
you broke with your fathers,
Con tus padres rompiste.
and
con tus
you
padres.
said
Well,
You said bad things about your fathers.
Dijiste cosas feas.
Yes.
About your parents.
Yeah.
Okay, and I would like to know, because you recently said that you don't know what's going to happen when you write a poem.
Y como dijiste recién que no sabes
Okay.
qué va a pasar cuando
And your poems are really dark about familiar things.
Y tus poemas son realmente oscuros sobre temas familiares.
Yes? You
I didn't, yes, I don't know what I'm going to write,
Okay.
but I didn't hear the next sentence.
Okay, and your poems are really dark about familiar things, about your mother, your father, your sisters.
Tus poemas con respecto a tu familia, tu padre, tus hermanos son oscuros realmente.
I would like to know if when you write a poem, you are scared about what's going to happen. If there is something like if the devil comes when you write poems, and if you are afraid of that.
Quiero saber si tenés realmente miedo, si estás temerosa de qué es lo que va a pasar cuando escribís un poema, si tenés miedo que el demonio aparezca por ahí.
That is the first question. I want to know if you are afraid of that, and what happened, what maybe the devil comes when you write your poem, and how can you handle it with the writing.
Quiero saber si tenés miedo de que aparezca el demonio cuando escribís y cómo lo vas a manejar.
Thank you. While I'm writing that poem, I never thought anyone would read it.
Cuando escribí ese poema jamás pensé que alguien lo iba a leer.
I was trying to write something that described something that felt true to me.
Yo quería describir algo que yo sintiera que era honesto conmigo misma, que era verdadero hacia mí.
And it was obvious to me then that I could never send such a poem out into the world.
Y eso en ese momento era evidente para mí que nunca jamás podría enviar ese poema al mundo.
So I wasn't afraid.
Así que no tuve miedo.
No one would ever see it.
Porque nadie lo iba a ver jamás.
And then, as time went by,
y después, con el tiempo,
I wanted to be able to share that poem with other people.
Quise compartir ese poema con otras personas.
I knew many people, most people would not like it.
Sabía que a muchísima gente no le iba a gustar.
But it felt so true to me that it was a relief, such a relief to make that song.
Pero para mí era algo tan honesto y tan sincero que para mí fue como un alivio, un gran alivio esa canción.
So, I sent it up.
Entonces lo largué.
And it came back.
Y volvió.
No one wanted it for a while.
Durante un tiempo nadie lo quiso mantener por un tiempo.
But then a magazine accepted it.
Pero finalmente una revista lo aceptó.
Does that answer your question?
¿Te respondí?
Yes, you answer my questions. Thanks a lot.
Sí, muchas gracias.
Yo quería preguntarle por el proceso de escritura del padre. No sé inglés, eso.
Pero díselo. Dale, sí te ve la cara, porque ella dijo que quería darle cosas.
Hola.
Gustavo wanted to ask you about the process of writing the book The Father.
Gustavo quería saber cómo fue el proceso de...
But to ask me about
the process of writing The Father.
writing
That
the
particular
Father.
book.
Good. Yes. Thank you. I'm ready.
Estoy lista, gracias.
Well, and that was the question.
Oh, was that the
Esa era la pregunta.
Oh, sorry.
How was the whole process of writing The Father?
The process of writing The Father.
That book, yes.
After the book came out, I felt to myself, I said to myself,
Después de publicar el libro me dije,
that is a book I was born to write.
ese libro yo nací para escribir ese
I was so glad that I had been able to show my love and my not love
haber podido expresar mi amor y mi no amor.
to sing of him, like, yeah. So the process was just, I wrote many poems, sometimes sitting right there, writing them, and only a small number. I wrote many, and only a small number were okay.
Solo hubo una
Enough, okay.
pocos que estaban bien, que estaban bastante bien. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's what I'm gonna do. Thank you.
¿Alguien más quiere? ¿Nadie?
But it's so cool. But there's
No, I'm back here.
Inés,
hola, Inés.
decirle que yo siento que es medio tramposa cuando dice que los poemas le salen, los libros los hace espontáneamente o algo así.
This is somebody, a poet, and she asked me to ask you. And she says that she feels you're not being totally truthful when you say that, she said, I think she cheated when she says that she does not think about the book when she writes the poems. She doesn't believe you, Sharon. I'm sorry. I have nothing to do. I mean, she says that, and she's a very well-known and very wonderful poet. So, I'm sorry. She says that I don't know what she's concocting. She probably thinks you do have an idea of a book, or
Okay.
Que no es tan naif.
that you are
Yeah,
not so
okay.
naive.
I see. Probably it's true that every time I write a poem, I hope that it will be good enough poem to show to anyone at a reading or eventually in a book. So she's right in that way. At the same time, I don't have a big consciousness. I don't think, where would it go in a book? What do I need to write another poem for the shape of a book? I am so concentrating on the one line that I'm writing. I don't even write poems. I write lines.
Dice que ella en realidad se concentra tanto, ella escribe líneas, ni siquiera escribe poemas. Dice que por ahí sí puede ser que tengas un poco de razón, pero que ella finalmente piensa, sí, que eso después se va a leer mañana, pero que ella escribe líneas, no escribe poemas.
Well, thank you. I will now move the computer so that you can see everyone in the room.
Thank you.
And I thank you, and we all thank you with all our souls, with our hearts for this time you've given us.
Thank you so much